Hey, ladies. Welcome to Black Women Making Money. This is the Friday edition, Fun Friday, Messy Friday, whatever you want to call it. As you are coming in, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can also click the thumbs down button. That's okay too. Today's topic has been all over the place. Boy, oh boy, has everybody been talking about Iyanla, Ebony, this whole thing of, should you marry a bus driver and all of that stuff. So, ladies, as you are coming in, if anybody is listening to the replay, first of all, put replay in the comment section. That way, YouTube knows that you like the content that you're getting here. But for all my ladies who are here in the live chat, we're going to talk a little bit today about the economics of dating down. I am going to drop the link. I'm probably going to give about 20 minutes of commentary. We'll drop the link and then we will kind of move on from there. So, I do want to start off with actually some economic news because this is Black women making money. Oh, I'm sorry. A couple of things I forgot before I do the economic news. If you're not on our email list, you want to be on our email list, bwmakingmoney.com. It is free to join. You get exclusive content. I don't have a Patreon or anything like that, but this is my way of sending you exclusive content. We're also going to have a session on leveling up using LinkedIn. Ladies, level up using LinkedIn. If you have not voted for the day and time that you want to have that session, go to the community tab and put your vote in for the Level Up Using LinkedIn session. Hey, Selfish Love. Hey, Rose. I know Rose is ready for this one. So, a couple of pieces of information with regard to the economy before we get started talking about the mess. The first thing is the jobs report came out today and it did better than expected. April jobs report shocks people with 253,000 jobs added and unemployment actually falling. So they are saying the unemployment rate has dropped to 3.4%. And they have better than expected. They expected non-farm payrolls to be 185,000, and instead there were 253,000 jobs added. Also, the average hourly earnings month to month increased as well. They expected 0.3%, ended up with 0.5%. And you may be saying, well, Cherie, are these low paying jobs? Well, according to them here, they're saying the largest gains were in education and healthcare with 77,000 workers. Business services grew by 41,000, and then leisure and hospitality grew by 31,000 jobs. Construction and manufacturing jobs rounded it out with 15,000 and 11,000 respectively. And because of the jobs report, the markets went up. So if you're in the stock market, you probably had a good day today with regards to that. So wanted to make sure all of you knew what was happening in the markets before we get to the mess. So you're laughing, you're saying, how did I know? Because I know you, Rose. Because I know you. Hey, Dark and Lovely, welcome. Hey, Shar, Willie. I know you're going to want to come on the panel. I'm going to drop the link. I want to give, I'm going to replay everything just in case anybody's been living under a rock or you need a bit of a refresher with regards to what happened. So, and I'm going to make some comments. And then, yes, I am going to drop the link because we need to talk about the economics of dating down. The interesting thing is I have been listening to a few streams with regard to this, kind of some of my favorite content creators. And everyone seems to, I thought it was just going to be kind of level one surface discussions about this, but people actually have been drilling down into the economics of dating down and we're having discussions about that. And I was actually very happy and proud to see us having that as a discussion because not only is there what do you call it? Is there like qualitative or hey, I know this person and they got married and they were a socioeconomic mismatch and it didn't work out. There's also research that's pointing to that as well. So we're going to talk about some of the research that's coming out. We're going to talk about some of the trends that's coming out. We're going to talk about some of the common sense um, that we're seeing uh, within Black women. And then, I'm going to give some pieces of advice as well with regard to this whole topic. So let's start off with first things first. If you don't know what was stated, we're not going to show the entire interview. We are just going to show, make sure I have this right. Hold on. We're going to show, here we go. This is the one that I want. Okay, so we're just going to show a couple of minutes of this. If you don't know what happened, Iyanla Van Zant went on a show with Ebony K. Williams on the network The Griot. I have to admit, even though I knew what The Griot was, and I do get some of my articles from The Griot sometimes, like I'll read it every once in a while, I didn't know the show existed. This is the most amount of publicity that both Iyanla and Ebony has gotten in a long time. I forgot that both of them existed pretty much. And I should say here that they better thank the bus driver. They should thank the bus driver because this is the most amount of publicity these two have gotten. And then Mark Lamont Hill decided to put his 2 cents in, and apparently he's a reporter for the Griot. People didn't even know these people existed. I mean, we knew they existed, but we weren't really checking for them. So they should thank the bus driver. So, hey, Nia. Well, we hope that this conversation will not be dusty. We hope that it won't. um, but it is something that we should talk about. It is something we should talk about because there's a lot of pushback that's happening. There's a lot of pushback from older women. There's a lot of pushback from men. We're seeing men of all socioeconomic levels talk about this and really trying to squash it. So hey, um, it's a real thing. But let's first of all hear a little bit of what Iyanla and Ebony were talking about. Make sure that it's on a regular speed. Okay.
Dr. Iyanla. Let me ask you this. Let's get to the logistics, though. Let's get to the logistics. We know.
Oh, I don't know why I can't hear that. Let's see here. My volume is all the way up. What is going on with my volume? Let's see here.
Oh, that Black women are earning college degrees.
Can you all hear that? You're saying here, I don't think anyone mentioned how this is a class issue. It's definitely a class issue. It's definitely a socioeconomic issue. I did hear Erica Williams. She was one person that had mentioned that, but she didn't really talk about this per se. She talked about like other stuff. And I knew she was hinting at this. So let me figure out, let's try the volume again here and see if we're able to get this to work.
Let me ask you this. Let's get to the logistics, though. Let's get to the logistics. We know that Black women are earning college degrees faster.
Are you all hearing anything? Make sure my volume is up. Let me know. You're saying you can hear. Okay. Well, for whatever reason, I can't hear on my end, but that's okay as long as you all can hear.
So than anybody else. Many of us are doing like we're doing, Iyanla. We're getting those terminal degrees, those JDs, MD PhDs. We also are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, along with Latina women in America. Pew Research said that women are now out earning men
Yes.
in 22
Yeah.
of the largest cities in America, including where I live, New York, DC, LA, you name it. When we talk, and I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to I don't know, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build. When some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, um, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes, they're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? You. Would you date a
If he
bus
owns
driver?
the bus, if he owns
No.
it, if he owns the bus,
See, that's a
Iyanla.
problem. That's a problem. That's a problem
Okay.
because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about
Mm-hmm.
that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who
Mm.
we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus
Mm.
driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of
Mm-hmm.
integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I could build with a bus driver.
Mm.
I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us
Mm.
unhappy, keeps us angry,
Mm.
keeps us imbalance. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So
Okay, so I was finally able to get my audio on my side working. Um, First question that I have is, and I kind of got it working midway. Um, in a previous section of this interview with Ebony, Ayanla said that building was a masculine thing, which I don't I don't necessarily agree with. I think that this whole masculine feminine thing is being so thrown out of proportion that it's causing women to kind of get scared to build, to want to be successful, etc., which I think is dangerous. The second thing is now she's saying she can build with a bus driver. I'm like, okay, but I thought we weren't supposed to be building. So, she said several things that were kind of confusing here, but let's continue. We only have 20 more seconds of this.
it's not that it's bad or wrong, it's obsolete. It's obsolete.
Mm.
Do you think that a successful woman like Ebony or like you and I marrying a bus driver or not marrying a bus driver, requiring that he be the owner of the bus is obsolete? Because according to the data, according to Ralph Richard Banks, it's not obsolete. According to Ralph Richard Banks, this is what we're currently doing, and we're getting the results that we currently have. So I know that Ebony didn't want to push back on absolutely everything, but these are some of the things that I heard that I didn't hear kind of some certain people kind of saying and stating. Let's see a little bit more.
We have to come up with a new way of being. I don't believe in carrying a man. A man has to do for himself. My son got his first job when he was nine. Nine. Okay? Because you're a
Nine.
black man,
Yeah.
you will know how to take care of yourself. But I think the way we measure it, it's just obsolete.
Okay, so that was the first thing that was said. That was the first thing that was said by Iyanla. Um, you all are saying Black women don't do this. You're saying Ebony is making salient points, and Iyanla responds with that gotcha question. Yeah, look, it didn't answer the question that she asked. That was another thing. What Iyanla stated didn't really answer the question that she asked, from what I remember. So, um, Iyanla's last husband left her in financial ruin. Yeah, look, oftentimes because we're not equally yoked. Yeah. Hey, Sun, Venus, Moon. I'm going to drop the link in a few seconds. You made it to a live. Hey, Nicole, welcome. Glad you can be here. We got a man in the building. So I happen to like Coach K. So, Coach K, if you want to come on and talk about this, you said you wouldn't advise your daughter to date the bus driver if she is wealthy. Look, even the men with sense are saying the same thing. This doesn't make any sense. And the data proves it out. So I'm going to show you the data as well. But before I do that, I want to show you a little bit of Ebony's response as well, so that again, we can all be up to date. Well, not completely up to date, because apparently Iyanla did a 2-hour live stream defending herself. I didn't hear it. I didn't need to hear it. Let's just listen to what Ebony is saying here. And then I got a couple of articles to show you, and then I'll open up the panel.
Now let's address the response to the interview and what some of y'all are calling a backlash. So let me be clear. First, I am a professional disruptor. So backlash is my business. And I will always take it on the chin for the sake of advancing the work, conversation, or movement. So know that I am completely unfazed by the onslaught of nasty comments, wishing me a sad, lonely, bitter existence until my untimely death. Now, that is some weird energy to be wishing onto a Black woman, especially one who has dedicated her life to the liberation of Black folk. But, whatever, I guess, go off. See, I wanted to talk about how do we close the gap between Black women who do show up in a so-called masculine posture, those of us that are providing and building and protecting due to circumstances that we might feel make us feel that if we don't do it for ourselves, we will have to go without the resources and protections we need to feel safe in this world. But Dr. Iyanla went in a different direction. She asked me a personal question. And y'all know I have been extremely transparent about the fact that my life choices and my chosen lifestyle are far outside of the norm. So when I said that I would date the bus owner, a lot of y'all heard something different. Some of you heard the following: bus drivers are whack. Bus drivers are broke. Oh, and I'm too good for a bus driver. The only thing is, y'all made that part up. See, I said what I said. But then some of y'all started talking about salaries and hourly wages, pensions and benefits. And that's wild, because I was never talking about money at all. I was talking about Black ownership, but some of y'all made it about money. I'm talking about ownership, Black enterprise, and entrepreneurship, because really,
Oh, I'm sorry. You all said you can't hear me because I was on mute. I'm sorry. Okay, let me start all over again because this is important. Ebony is fibbing, or she was fibbing, when she said that this wasn't about money and it wasn't about salary. Wealth is about money. Wealth is about money. Ebony is twisting herself in a pretzel instead of just saying, I said what I said. She could have said this. She started off her commentary saying the right thing. that there is a gap in wealth, that she does not live the normal life, that Iyanla asked her a personal question being of the status that she is in. She said that, and she was right. She said in the interview, she was trying to figure out how do we close the gap between Black women and Black men. And Iyanla turned it into a personal question, asking if she would date a bus driver, and she did not see wealth building in that. So now, Ebony, don't turn into a pretzel. Don't try to turn it into a pretzel because of some of the comments. You can stand on it and say, yes, he may have a pension. However, I don't see wealth building in a pension, not in the way, not on the level that Ebony is at. That would have been more honest.
I am talking about Black liberation. And if you read my book, you'll understand why. So I'm standing 10 toes down on that position, and I don't really care if you're hurt or offended by it. And since some of y'all are already big mad, let me go ahead and make you incensed. So out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of Black men when I said what I said.
Now, I will say this. She must have been looking at the comments from the men. Because let me tell you, the comments from the women were saying differently. The comments from the women. There's a woman that I follow, and I'll name drop her if you all have ever heard of her, Nicole Michelle. She's a femininity coach slash influencer, and I like to hear her just because I like hearing like different perspectives. And she put this in her. She was talking about this a couple of days ago, and I expected her to say, you should give the bus driver a chance. Baby, let me tell you, when Nicole Michelle said, Nicole, if you all know who she is, you'll know why I was shocked. This woman who is a Black femininity influencer said, I don't think Black women who are professional should marry the bus driver. And she said her husband told her, like convinced her that it wasn't a good move. I nearly fell out. I was like, so Ebony is saying she read 50,000 comments, and people are saying that it never occurred to them that they should be the bus driver. It has occurred to women. I am seeing a lot of women on a lot of different channels and a lot of different social networks echoing the same thing. Her name is Nicole Michelle. Nicole Michelle, if you put in Nicole Michelle femininity on YouTube, she's on YouTube and Twitter. She may be on other social channels as well. Find Womanhood knows who she is. Find Womanhood, Selfish Love, y'all know who she is. Are y'all shocked? Because when I started following her in, must have been 2019, she would have never said anything like that. My brother, a Black man, agrees with Ebony. Yes. So there are some men even saying the same thing. And those men are usually upwardly mobile Black men looking at the landscape going, we want to see more Black men win, but there are a sizable number of Black men who are satisfied with average and mediocre. That is true. That is why, I'm like, Ebony, don't do backflips with this. She could have said it straight. And she did actually talk about mediocrity and average on the Breakfast Club, but we're not going to go through all of that. But let's finish listening to what she's saying here.
But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming me personally and Black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse. Now, I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay, as long as you're doing your best.
I want to comment on this because in the Iyanla interview with Ebony, Iyanla talked about the fact that she raised her kids with discipline and a couple of other quote unquote masculine traits, right? And how she did not give her kids, Iyanla did not give her kids nurturing and some of the quote unquote feminine traits that she could have and should have given. Again, Iyanla was a single mother, right? And she talked about the fact that her son, Iyanla's son, had to work at 9. Now, Ebony is sitting here saying on this video that we have young Black kids being coddled, bringing home C's and D's. What kind of trait do you think a parent needs to have to get a kid to make A's and B's as they should, if that is their level um, of scholastic aptitude? Is it the quote unquote feminine nurturing that needs to be done, or is the quote unquote masculine discipline that needs to happen? Because Ebony is describing here, what Ebony is describing here requires quote unquote masculinity or discipline in order to move our young people up from C's and D's to A's and B's. It requires masculinity to not have bad, horrible schools in Black communities. Rose is saying, I would think masculine. It takes discipline. Can you coddle a child, Nia? Can you coddle a child from making C's and D's to making A's and B's? Y'all are saying both. I would love for somebody to come up here and engage me with that piece. I don't know if you can coddle a child to it and nurture them to an A or a B. If it is their scholastic aptitude, maybe if they need help with like tutoring or something like that, but that takes resources, which is masculine as well. And I'm putting quote unquote masculine because I'm buying less of this masculine feminine thing because I think it's being overplayed. Not because I don't think it exists. I think it's being overplayed on social media. But let's keep listening to Ebony.
Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of Black men. So, no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay. No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love to fall comfortably into the bigotry of low expectations. So I'm going to say one more time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with driving a bus. My mother Gloria drove one for years. But could it be that Black America has been sold a narrative of average, regular, and typical being good enough for us? Well, see, that's called white supremacy. And in this case, it takes the form of conditioning Black Americans to happily accept being a permanent American underclass.
Now, I have to disagree with the white supremacy thing. Coach K may come up. He's probably going to disagree too. That's not white supremacy. That's us expecting less than. That ain't white supremacy. I don't buy it as white supremacy. So that was all that I wanted to show with regards to that. But yeah, you're right. Many people are comfortable with mediocrity. And guess what? With robots and with AI, mediocrity ain't gonna cut it. With increased food prices, with increased housing prices, it's difficult for people to get their first house right now, their first home right now, to get into ownership. Mediocrity ain't gonna cut it. You need two people that are not even extraordinary, but just like moving in the right direction and above average in order to make it. Yeah, she lost you on the white supremacy as well. Yeah, she set it up with like there are certain things that, that were being said. I was like, what? Nothing to do with nothing. But ladies, this topic, this topic with Iyanla and Ebony, do you know that it's reaching white media? Do you know today the View with Joy Behar and the rest of them talked about this topic? Our conversations are seeping out to mainstream media and we're being watched. We're always being watched, but yeah. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to actually drop the link. I've got an article to share as well. And we're going to make sure you like the video if you haven't liked the video as well. We're just going to have a conversation about this. I want to, I do want to share an article with everybody with regards to being socioeconomically mismatched as you all are coming up. And it is an article from The Atlantic. Um, Give me a second, everybody. I just want to go through this article really quickly. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to let you all come up and comment, and then I'm going to go through this article. It's a bit longer. We got a guy in the house here, Coach K.
How you doing?
I'm good. When I
How are
heard
you?
that white supremacy, I was
Oh
like,
no,
I know Coach K is coming up to talk about
that's not
that.
white supremacy. White people have nothing to do with it.
No.
You have a great show, and shout out to all your supporters, man. These guys support you, man. Round of applause for that, man, because
Thank you.
you have some great topics here.
Mhm.
What she said was not wrong, and I don't know where all the heat's coming from, because let me tell you this: in many cultures, right, you can't even date the daughter without even meeting with the father first, right? And the father would like to know, what do you do for a living, and how do you plan to take care of my daughter? Am I right?
You're right.
Yeah. So even me, that I was getting married, like when I was trying to get married to my wife, I had to meet with my my wife's father, and he asked several questions. What is your plans? Are you planning to move up in management with this job that you're doing? Just asking questions. And I don't know why people should be upset. If she says she's not going to date a bus driver, and she's got more money, nah, nah. She if she wants to date the bus owner, that's much better. You're supposed to move forward in life. The Indian family will tell you the same thing too. I have an Indian neighbor who has a daughter who was in pharmacy school. And he told me, he said, nah, my daughter is not going to marry anybody that's not a medical doctor, engineer, or work in IT. No. Some cultures, they are frowned upon who their daughters are going to get married to. So that's my own opinion about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And thanks so much to India as well for the 4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. So, you you're right with regards to not only Ebony, but even those of us on this channel.
Mm,
This channel is for the upwardly mobile Black woman. Um,
correct.
we're looking at the top 20% of Black women. So that typically means one 130 or higher, net worth of 550,000 or higher. Um, that is like you own a house and you have, some money in a 401k or something like that.
Hmm.
Or, you know, you may own a couple of real estate rental properties that have appreciated, etc.
Hmm.
It's not so much, and that's what I'm going to read within this article. It is not so much the bus driver
Hmm.
um, himself. It is the fact that Iyanla framed it as he's happy driving the bus and that's all he wants to do.
Correct.
And what people are saying is that there is a socioeconomic mismatching that
Mm-hmm.
continues to happen with Black women. And if we have the highest amounts of divorces, if we're not getting married, et cetera, we have to look at why that's happening. If we're the most likely to date down instead of date out,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
we can't do anything about Black men. I know you're trying. I can name, Black men on YouTube who are trying to help other Black men.
Correct.
But people aren't showing up for your stuff. People aren't showing up for, um, Charles Oglesby,
Mm-hmm.
um, or the guy that does the appliance repair, Mike Sneed,
Okay. And
who can
Mr.
help
Terry the
apply.
electrician too. Yeah.
Yeah, there are Black men who can help other Black men. We
Absolutely.
can't do it, and we
Absolutely.
shouldn't.
Even I'll tell you this, as a married man, my wife still pushes me. Like even for my business, she was like, "How much are you charging right now?" Like I told her how much I was charging. She said, "You need to go up, babe," and I did. And I'm telling you, it worked out perfectly. Like even I run things through my wife. I'm like, "What do you think about this?" So in life, you got to move up, and if men are not stepping up, some of these women are not going to step down to help you. You're a man. You're supposed to be the leader of the household. You're supposed to lead the woman. You know what I'm saying? Not the woman leading the household, paying the mortgage, dropping you off at work, driving a, you're supposed to be a man. Nowadays it's like, oh no, men are not supposed to do these things. And it bothers me a lot that men are not men anymore. You know what I'm saying? Men want women to cuddle them. Like even me as a case manager when I work in the city, when I go to a foster parent's home or I go to a parent's home to unify the child back, there's a man sitting on the sofa, and the woman's the one doing all the work. She's the one dropping the kids, picking the kids up, and dropping her off and driving her car all day. And I noticed that there was just a lot of women involved and not a lot of men. So I see what you're saying, that this issue, men have to step up. They really have to step up.
Yeah. Well, we have a full panel here. So, Coach K,
Yeah.
is it okay if you drop down so
Oh,
that somebody else can
absolutely.
come up?
Yes, no
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you for having me because I know it's a whole bunch of women. I don't want to be the only one in the house as a man.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that you just come and usually give your thumbs up and you leave because this is like you respect the woman's space. But when she said that white supremacy, I
Oh
knew
yeah.
I had to call you up.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
so
Have a
much.
good one. Peace.
Shar, what's up?
Greetings, everyone. How are you?
Doing well.
Good deal. Well, I like to. I'm going to use your voice. I'm going to try, and I'm going to paint a picture, and I want everyone to envision it, please. So, I'm not good at pronouncing her name. What is it? Evaliat? I don't know.
Iyanla.
Oh, I'm not even close. Miss V. That's her last name, right? Vaniette or something.
We can call her Miss V.
All right. So, Miss V. Let's say she has a speaking engagement and she paid a driver, which will be a shared bus, to take her to the airport and bring her back. And they load her luggage under the bus there and take her to the airport. And on the way, they talk about the weather, traffic, and everything. And then he says, "Hey, um, I would like to, have dinner with you, whatever. How, can I have your number?" And I'm looking at this like I don't see her asking at that time, well, do you enjoy your job? How long you been on your job? Do you really enjoy driving this bus? That just doesn't, make any sense. So I just know it's just talk when it comes down to a lot of these shows. You say whatever is more popular and what will be accepted. And that's what my opinion is on that. And then as far as the reaction to the space itself, 75% of the guys, it's because it's content, you know, and then it's also a way of saying, see, these women this and these women that, whatever their narrative is. but it is it's all about economics. There's nothing you can do about that, and it doesn't matter if they would have said a person that just got out of school and going to be a scientist. It doesn't matter. It's the woman would have still been shamed. She would have still got backlash, and I wanted to add that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's a shame that we, and social media is one thing, but also starting to see stuff spill into real life. I was on the phone earlier today with a guy for business purposes, right? No personal stuff came in. And at the very end of the call, he expressed his love and admiration for Kevin Samuels and how he usually dates Latino and Asian women, but if I knew a black woman, that would be good for him to let him know. And he refuses to date white women because he didn't say he's B1, but that's what he's trying to say. And I was just like, what the hell am I what am I listening to? So
Mm,
stuff's really starting to spill over as well. It's just, I mean, I used to think, oh, this is just stuff on the internet, but it's starting to get bad. Um,
yeah.
yeah, so I'll let you stay up here. Spiritual advisor.
Hey, can
Hey,
you hear
Sun,
me?
Venus, Moon. Yes, we can.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on and for this topic. And I really appreciate your content. And it's always a pleasure when you come on. So thank you for taking the time to do that.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts?
Okay, let's lob some big ones. The Black community hates speaking on class. It really gets them. So I'm going to talk about it because it's always worked very well for me to recognize this because I've had to. Small little bit of background. In the Black community, I had to recognize that me speaking proper was a class issue. I was not accepted because of that. I was okay with that. What I did was find other Black people who spoke very proper and who were academically inclined. But it was in that recognition that kept me out of a lot of trouble, right? And then in white culture, so I'm integrated, I'm going to college, I'm getting corporate jobs, I'm in white America. They're very unforgiving if you don't know the different classism and how what you're expected and how you're expected to go. So I had to learn, right? So that's just a little background of how recognizing it can be very beneficial. So you're not trying to integrate and align and enter into areas that you're just not a good match for. And there's nothing wrong with that. Not being a match doesn't mean anyone's wrong. It just is. And so the community, in my opinion, hates bringing this up. We're all supposed to be equal, but we're not. Different levels of education, that's not equal. Different levels of finances, you're not equal. I didn't say anything about character, but there is something that goes with it, which is mindset, intellect, capacity. Because some people simply don't have the capacity to think a certain way or be that expanded in their mind or be expanded in how to make money. And I have like my family's such one. She literally does not have the capacity to see more than being a janitor. She just doesn't. We've been trying for 40 years, right? She just doesn't have it. So all this had a little bit more conversation about this without getting so triggered and being okay with the difference. It would really help them because I think Black women do it for words. We are so much upwardly mobile, not only with our community, who are, they get resentful. Stop asking me to have the money to go on trips. I don't even want to go on trips. Why do you want your kid to go to private school? Public school is fine. And FYI, this is from experience. I dated a truck driver. I did not get serious with him because of the class difference. He just couldn't see private school for my kids. He couldn't see this. He didn't see why commitment in marriage was such a big thing. He had to come around to it. There was nothing wrong with him. He is a wonderful person. But as far as being a long-term mate, it just would not have worked because it would have been constant conflict. And every single time, if we don't start talking about it or at least recognizing it, you don't have to judge anyone for recognizing that you're misaligned or different in goals, mindset, intellect, and capacity. But ignoring it, if I ignored this and got with this guy, it'd be constant stress, constant battle, constant struggle, because we can't just accept that we're just on two different planes. So I just wanted to put that out there, and we didn't need to stop being triggered and look at it as a positive thing, so we're not entering into conversations, relationships in our community or outside of our community without recognizing, well, at this level in this game, these are the rules. Us ignoring it just means we keep getting played. And that's it. I
I
hope you
agree
heard me
with
all.
that. I agree with that. And I have to apologize for the volume. For whatever reason, my headphones are like not working well. So like I have to turn the volume way up just to hear the ladies at all. So I apologize. I know somebody mentioned the volume turning it down, but I wouldn't be able to hear. So I do want to go through this article because it um, is in line with what Spiritual Advisor is saying about the class issue. And this is a very real thing. Not only is it real, like, you know, anecdotally, it's also been statistically and being statistically researched and proven that couples who come from different socioeconomic classes and backgrounds fail at a higher rate than those who um, are, if we are um, well educated and have resources, we're less like, if both of us do, both man and woman, we're less likely to get divorced. If we have, if we are working class or impoverished, we're like both man and woman are impoverished and are impoverished, don't have any resources, low education, you have a high chance of getting divorced or never married at all. And men and women who are of different socioeconomic classes also have a high tendency for divorce. The other thing that I found is that I used to think it was crazy when people said that there's a higher chance of DV for women when they make more than their husbands. It turns out that people are right. It's statistically proven, ladies. I looked it up myself. Actually, I can show it to you here. Domestic V increases in heterosexual couples when the woman earns more money. So these things are being statistically proven, ladies. But I do want to go through this article and then I will let everybody else come up because I think this is a great article when we start talking about classes and the issues that people have with class, because it's just going to bring it all together. So they're saying here in her 2015 book, The Power of the Past, the sociologist Jessie Stride shows that marriages between someone with a middle class background and someone with a working class background can involve differing views on all sorts of important things, including child rearing, money management, career advancement, and how to spend leisure time. In fact, couples often overlook class-based differences in beliefs, attitudes, and practices until they begin to cause conflict and tension. Ladies, I will say this: Hollywood has sold us a dream, whether it's Disney or whether it's Tyler Perry. This is part of the problem with Hollywood selling us a dream. We're going to continue here. She finds, this is the author, she finds that people who are raised middle class are often very diligent about planning their career advancement. They map out long term plans, meet with mentors, and take specific steps to try to control their career trajectories. People from working class backgrounds were less open to advancement, but often were less actively involved in trying to create opportunities for themselves, preferring instead to take advantage of openings when they appeared. When these people wound up in cross class marriages, those from middle class backgrounds often found themselves trying to push working class spouses to adopt different models for career advancement, encouraging them to pursue additional education, be more self directed in their careers, or actively develop and nurture the social networks that can often be critical to occupational mobility. But Stripe finds that while working class partners may have appreciated their middle class spouse's advice, they usually only followed it in times of crisis. Ladies, I'm sure Jessie Stribe is not a Black woman. However, she's saying the same thing. She is saying basically, you are trying to pull a man over the finish line. You're trying to pull a man over the finish line. Um, Spiritual advisor, did you have something else to say, or can I go on to the next person?
No, that was it. It was just funny that the article mentioned like the leisure time and travel and financial, and it was literally every single thing that caused tension when I dated someone at a lower socioeconomic level. So the article's on point. Thank you for it. Thank you for your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And I brought it up because it is what you were saying it. And I'm like, this article proves it out as well. So, um, all right, Tammy. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. This particular topic is, I think, I just think that there's nothing else that Black women can do to convince the men to step up. They know that they need to step up, and I think, I think the class issue is one thing, but this just goes to show you that all of this talk about, building wealth and creating a sustainable community, so much of it is just talk because when it comes time to discuss money, suddenly they get very sensitive. So how how are you planning to build wealth if you don't even want to get past a certain level in education and career achievement? It's almost like this is just something that they just talk about for whatever reason, I don't know. But I think I think a lot of Black women are just we just realize it's just not our problem to deal with anymore. Like we've done everything we can do. And if for whatever reason they don't have, I don't know if this is a self-esteem issue. I don't know if this is an imposter syndrome issue. I don't know what the issue is, but there is um they have an aversion to like wanting to achieve past a certain level. And I really couldn't tell you why that is. And frankly, I just find it kind of disturbing because it's like we're being expected to, like you were just saying, pull men up out of a place into a space they don't want to be in. And they're angry with us because we're not afraid of being in those spaces. And at the same time, simultaneously asking what we bring to the table, clearly talking about money, clearly, right? They're clearly asking what resources we bring, but they don't feel that they need to bring anything. I just find it really strange. And at the same time, wanting to be treated as though they are leading a household and wanting us to pretend that they're doing things that they're not doing. And it's all just very self-serving, and I also think it's a little bit narcissistic too. Like I just feel the jig is up on this whole thing, and women are not going to stop. And I've seen this across all races. Women across all races are tired of having to carry the burden of men being underachievers, and all of these insults about, well, you guys are going to end up alone with your dog or your cat and the Kevin Samuel stuff. It's not working anymore. The only option that they have is to step up to the plate or be rejected. That's just what it is, you know? And I know that they don't want to come to terms with that they have to step up. A relationship with a woman is not a human right. As much as they want to make it seem like it's something that they're entitled to as a human being, they're not. Um, Women, just as the first man that was on here was saying, there are expectations of you in order to have a wife or a long-term partner in most cultures. It's You're not entitled to someone just because you exist. You're not entitled to someone just because you're a good person. Plenty of people are nice people. We all come across nice people every day. That doesn't mean that they're entitled to our time and our emotional labor and being their partner. You being a good person and having a good heart is simply not enough. And we see that based on the domestic violence statistics, the statistics that show us that these
If
marriages
you
do
can
not
say
work.
DV, just in case YouTube, because YouTube is sensitive.
I'm sorry, I'll say DV. Yeah, we see that based on just the plenty of research that we've seen, and I know that they know what the truth is. And so the fact of the matter is that men are either going to have to step up to the plate and come together and dig deep and figure out why they have such an aversion to doing anything more than the bare minimum, or they're just going to have to, just accept the fact that women are not going to accept it because it's not going to change. um, Black women deserve to have partners who can meet a certain level of achievement and who can care for a family. This is not the old days or like decades ago where we had to, because we couldn't have bank accounts, we didn't have access to certain resources. Those days are over. And like you were saying, like things are getting more expensive now, and this is just not going to cut it. The fact of the matter is, a bus driver's salary just does not cut it. And one woman was even saying that she dated someone who was in a similar position, and I have too. And I can tell you from experience, all of this talk about how, well, you don't know how much a bus driver makes, and um, they can clear six figures and this, that, and the other. It's just really, honestly, it's just not true. Unless
And
you're in
it's,
a
I
certain
mean,
position.
if people are talking about six figures in New York, that's different than the middle part of the country as
Yeah,
well. People
yeah.
like to put New York numbers on other places when it comes to salary.
Exactly. And let's talk about the childcare, right? People who work certain types of jobs, which are more leaning towards blue collar, tend to work longer hours. That is going to leave you as a woman home alone with the baby and the children all day. Um, your relationship is going to suffer because one of two things: either you're going to be exhausted, you're going to start become very like resentful towards your partner, he's going to want certain things out of you that you don't have the energy to give, and your relationship will suffer. It's not a match. It's not a match. And I don't think that we need to try to rewrite history and try to make it something that it's not. It doesn't work, and it hasn't. And that's all I came to say.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And um, when we talk about blue collar, we're not against blue collar men. If he is a higher earning blue collar man, if he owns the company, things like that. There are, for example, the appliance repair guys can make $1,000 a day if they hold up, hang up their own shingle. So, there are ways of actually doing this. But what I'm seeing, especially over the past few years, is Black women being tired of trying to pull men over the finish line. It's like, no, with Dr. Umar saying, for several months ago when the article came out about Ketanji Brown Jackson, and he was talking about the fact that Black women want ready made men. And it's like, yeah, we do, because we have seen our mothers and our grandmothers not have ready made men and what that has cost. So, everything is a cause and effect here.
Exactly.
And yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and it's like you're saying, it's totally possible to have a blue collar job and have a lot of success with that, but that's going to require you to, in some way, have sort of an entrepreneurial spirit in some way, shape, or form. You're going to have to either be in upper management somehow, or you have to you have to get past the level of just being the person who drives the bus. And I'm not trying to say that anyone who drives the bus is a bad person. I don't know why when we talk about socioeconomics, men want to tie it to their character. That's not what we're talking about.
right.
But it's the fact of the matter is simply being the bus driver is not enough. And I don't know why that's so bad to say. Other races of women know this. It's very simple. But for some reason, our community complicates this while also talking about wanting to build wealth. It doesn't add up.
Yeah. And I feel like we are becoming better at articulating the issue with the class mismatch. There was a time when, and then Rose, I'll let you go. There was a time when uh, you couldn't pass the paper bag test. You couldn't get into certain Divine Nine organizations. You couldn't get into Jack and Jill, etc. in the 60s. And we had, there was classism being practiced back then. Now, it was based on the paper bag test, which I don't agree with. But I watched an old documentary with regards to Jack and Jill, and they were talking about the fact that you had to be referred in to the organization. You couldn't just come and apply. And they looked at your entire family in order to find out if they wanted to let you in. And I think that that is coming back. If you all are following Erica Williams, she mentions a guy named Him 500. I don't know anything about him. I know he's on every once in a while on Earn Your Leisure, and apparently he makes good money. Well, apparently, Him 500 tried to send his daughter to a private school in Atlanta, and they wanted to interview the daughter. Now, according to Him 500, he said that his wife didn't know that the daughter needed to be prepped for the interview. I don't buy it. I think that they have this interview system as a way of keeping people out. And I think that when we decide who we are going to marry, and y'all know I'm always talking about nepo babies as well, can that man help you create a nepo kid? Because that's what's going to be needed over the next 20, 30, 50 years. And if he cannot help you do that, then unfortunately, and you want to have kids, that's not going to be a great combination. It's not going to be a great combination at all. So with that, Rose, you are up.
Hi, thank you for letting me on. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, is there anything particular you want me to say or just whatever comes to mind?
Whatever comes to your mind.
Okay. I stand with Ebony 100%. I'm glad that she was unapologetic. She was very correct in what she was saying. And yes, this is a society that is very coddling. There's a lot of coddling, very low expectations. And I think the anger with the men is the ego. It's like they know they don't measure up. They don't want to measure up. They don't want to do better, but they want the women to come down to their level to have access to that woman's wealth, and not because they want in any way to help her. I think that that whole that was just like word salad, as they say, with the masculine. When she was talking about masculine and feminine, either way could be used interchangeably. But I'm just very glad that she stood her ground and that she was unapologetic about it. As far as it being white supremacist, and when you were saying she was backing down, I think she's very assertive and she stands her ground, but I think she was also trying to, because I think she's an author as well, so maybe she does not want to offend a certain sector for whatever it is that she's trying to sell or whatever. And as far as white supremacist, I don't think it's a white supremacist ideal. In fact, if anything, it is other Black people who are telling Black people that they should be coddled and therefore that the system is against them and they don't try and they don't push. So I think sometimes some of the narratives that Black people are putting, including some of the Black elite, are hurting the men, making them think that, oh, there's every reason for them not to measure up. There's one other issue I wanted to bring up. It doesn't. It's escaping me. It's escaping me. But I'll mute and then let you speak.
Yeah, and we'll come back to you as well, Rose. So, Lake Life?
Happy Friday. Hello. So good to be back on your panel.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. And am I pronouncing your name correctly, Sheree? Sheree.
It's like Cherie, like My Cherie Amour, the
Oh,
song.
Sheree. Yes, excuse me. I was reading the comments. The last time I jumped on your panel and someone mentioned that I mispronounced your name, among other things.
Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry about that.
I thank you for correcting me. And so I wanted to mention two very important points. The first being that Iyanla basically set up Ebony to fail. She really did. She purposely used that platform as an elder, because those of us under 40, and even if you're in your 40s, Iyanla's an elder. She is a woman that, when we see her, we're going to show her an immense amount of respect. We would, just by her presentation, her accentuation, her accent, and her character, we would show her a great amount of respect. Black women would, all Black women, regardless your background. It's just very heartbreaking, and it kind of confirms what I've already been experiencing and noticing, is that you will have elder Black women who will purposely put a younger Black woman in a position to fail, to either fail, be humiliated, shamed, or even outright abused or assaulted. And you're seeing two women who both have a considerable amount of fame behind them. Iyanla arguably more than Ebony. Iyanla's with Oprah. She had her show on Oprah's channel for many, many years, and it was, from what I heard from Iyanla directly, she was the one who canceled her own show. She ended her own show, like Tyra Banks did, because Tyra Banks, she was the one who ended her own talk show after 6 years, and everything was cool. And they both come from like the Oprah School of Broadcasting. Both of them came under Oprah's wing. So when we're now seeing Ebony, and Ebony again was on Fox News. I remember the show was called The Fox News Specialist, and that show ended for reasons completely not because of Ebony, nothing at all, had nothing to do with her. And we've seen her do the rounds. We hear her voice, her attitude, her diction, her confidence. You see her background. And one thing about Ebony is that she really, really stands tall as a Black woman. And she's been on the Breakfast Club before. And she made a comment because people keep bringing up or thinking or assuming that she's mixed, or what are you mixed with? What is this? What is that? And she makes it clear, I'm Black mixed with Black. Like, she actually has a shirt that says that. She
I
wore it.
remember the shirt. Yeah.
Yep, I'm Black. No, I'm a Black woman from South Carolina, AKA communications major. And of course, she is a JD. And she mentioned that. Did she not? She mentioned that terminal degrees with Iyanla, who also is a JD. And both of them, for a time, were practicing attorneys. And now they both basically do correspondence work, which many people do, like Megyn Kelly. That you're an attorney. Megyn Kelly was also practicing, and then she transitioned to doing correspondence work, where you make a ton of money. That's where the real big money is, and outside of mergers and acquisitions for an attorney. So when you're seeing such two known Black women of two generations, they're both on the Griot, again, another Black main audience platform. For Iyanla to use this platform, of all platforms, where you're going to be who you're speaking to, who the audience is, and for you hear Ebony's question, and Ebony's question goes so deep because she's so correct. Because Ebony keeps mentioning a big issue that as Black women there is a lack of, which is protection. It really, really is protection. And I'm so happy Ebony said that. And I could tell, it comes from somewhere. Ebony didn't just read this. It came from something that she has experienced, something from her past or maybe her present, when she's mentioning resources and protections that are just not available to us. For Iyanla to respond, would you marry a bus driver? that made me, it hurt me because it made me angry and it like hurt my heart. Like you, Iyanla, because that's almost like kind of like Oprah. I mean, Iyanla's not Oprah, but you've been around it. Like you're a woman that Black people have really poured emotion, like been very, very sensitive and very open and very detailed with their lives with you. Like we're opening so much of ourselves, our private selves, to you, Iyanla, on TV, for the cameras. So when you're having a woman like Ebony speak to a woman like Iyanla about a matter it's such a big concern. And the way Ebony said that, she really, really meant that. For Iyanla to respond as such, it really is important as Black women for us to step back and listen to that question, because Iyanla answered a question with a question. And it was a dismissive question. It was very, very dismissive. At no time did she address a single important issue that Ebony brought up. And if you go back and listen to what Ebony said, every single one of us, especially those of us who watch your channel, who are for your channel, Cherie, 130,000, annualized income, at least over $500,000 net worth, you're still going to have to deal with the question of protection. It doesn't matter your income. If you are a Black woman by yourself living in a home, you are a target every single time. And you are not even guaranteed I'm not even referring to police protection. I'm just talking about the police even caring. Because at the same time, the police, they could very easily side on the other side on the people who are harassing you. And this personally has happened to me. Like it really, really hurt. Like it's scary. It hurt my feelings and it made me so angry that Iyanla would be so dismissive over a matter that means so much to Black women, because there is no Black woman who is by herself, whether you're a professional, a single Black mother, or you're a young woman, like, starting out your life, you're launching your life, you're a young Black girl, 20, 21, 22 years old. You are always dealing with issues of lack of protection. And it's nothing to do with your financial stability. You're here making money. Black women can work. All these groups, I'm telling a single Black woman with her children, a very young Black girl, or a Black professional woman, no kids, she's on her own. We're all working. We're all working. We're all making income. Cherie, you saw those job numbers. April job numbers were stunning. Biden is running around like a kid in like Christmas Day morning. Biden is rolling on the wave right now. Job numbers look great. Everybody is working. There's no reason to not have a job.
The stock market is up, and yeah.
The Dow, everybody's up 2%, which is still pretty good. All the banks are up. The regionals are having some problems, but those are like located in like a specific region of the country. But think about it, Cherie, and I'm not backtracking, but the economy is good. It's not bad. It's not as bad as what they've been saying. And now everyone is reassessing this recession. Yeah, we might have a mild recession at the end of the year. Like, okay, fine. My point is, we're all working, but yet we still have this issue of security. We still do. And the fact that Iyanla just dismisses that, it really just confirms something that a lot of Black women don't realize. When you're assaulted, abused at your workplace, it is a woman who put you in that position. There is no sexual harassment, there is no harassment that occurred to you at your workplace, no DV, none of it at your job that another woman did not know about and made sure you were put in that position to be abused.
Well, I don't think you can have DV at the job unless you're dating the guy that you're.
But I think I just wanted to use a word that people would know.
Okay.
Not take away from your channel. This abuse that these women know, even at your job, there is very well, you will have older Black women who will set you up to fail. Not just in a professional sense when it comes to your work, it also means to come again, you being hurt in whatever way, you being hurt. These things
I don't want to take too much away from our main topic either.
No, but Iyanla's who we work with. She's a professional. Iyanla's not just, she's a professional woman that you work with. We work with, you are Ebony, you work with Ebony, and you also Iyanla. now seeing it right here on camera. We're just now seeing everyone, face to face, left and right, and we're seeing what has been going on. Like this situation with Ebony and Iyanla really needs to be broken down. I know a lot of people want to scoot it behind, but it really, really is showcasing the difference in the generations.
And
Because
I agree with that as well. I think that Iyanla gave advice that people her age would follow, but it is not great advice for a young woman who wants to have children, especially in a world of robotics and AI. That doesn't make sense. Um, I can agree with you that there are women who prop up men who do harm to women and children. And that needs to be squashed as well. I do want to give Fine Womanhood a chance to speak though, because
thank you
she's
so
been
much,
up here
Sherry.
for a while.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you. Fine Womanhood.
Hey, Sheree, thanks for inviting me up. Uh,
Absolutely. I know you have something to say. I wanted to
yeah.
hear.
Yeah, everyone made some really great points so far. I agree with everything. Definitely agree with Lake Life when she was talking about the elders. But I just think overall, this was really embarrassing for Ebony. Like, I feel bad for her that she was on this on her own platform and invited Iyanla up, and she, asked her this kind of question. It's just like Iyanla is not, I hope I'm saying her name right, but Iyanla is not, she was not born yesterday. She knows the type of woman that Ebony is. She knows women like her. So to ask her that question, it was definitely a setup. And if she just wanted to talk about how you shouldn't forget about a man's integrity and honesty and all of that, she could have just talked about that. She didn't have to center Ebony's preferences and what's going to work for Ebony and, put her on the spot like that. That was not that was horrible. And then the backlash obviously was even worse. And it's just like as a black woman, it's almost like you can't. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. They had a problem with Ebony saying she wouldn't want to date a bus driver, but they also come for other black women like Serena Williams, who married not only outside of her race, but her husband doesn't make as much money as her. So they came for her as well on that. So
Mhm.
it's just
And if
like,
I can, they also are now coming for Debrat in the white sperm.
yeah, exactly. And I've talked about the sperm too, is that, there's not a lot of black men that qualify to donate sperm because they don't know their medical history. They already live unhealthy lifestyles, like they're smokers and they drink a lot. So they wouldn't even have their sperm accepted, um, more compared to like non-black men.
Well,
So it,
according to Dr.
mhm.
Umar, Debrat and the the wife should know somebody in the industry that they could have just, done the thing in the bed and bypass the sperm bank.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's
this is
that
just
there's also, I mean, I feel like that's another reason too. If you want to have a black child, you don't need to go to a sperm bank. You can just call up one of these men and lay down with them, and you can have a black child. Like they
yeah, but you don't know what you're getting is the
get
problem.
right. You
So
also don't know what you're getting, so that's why the sperm bank is still useful in that sense, because you know what you're getting, and you know that the sperm there is healthy. So it's just, it's damned if you do, if you damned if you don't for black women, particularly when it comes from the men. But there are those other older black women who, if their life didn't turn out the way they wanted, they have a vendetta against other black women that actually have some standards and boundaries. Because Ayanla even said in that interview that she was a horrible mother to her kids, that she played the father and the mother, but she primarily played the father role much more than her nurturing motherly role. And she's just said other things about her life throughout her show and just in other interviews in general since she's been in the media. And she hasn't had a good life herself. She's made horrible choices. She was an entirely different person. So it's no wonder she's she'll have a secret like bias against black women that don't have her history, that are technically doing better than her when she was their age. Ebony's doing amazing and she's beautiful. And if you invite someone like that on your platform, on your show, in your circle, they're going to make you look bad. They're going to be out to get you. It happens every time, every single time. It's like it never fails. There are some elders that are amazing. There's some elder black women that are actually loving and ready to teach because they're actually happy with their life. They're happy with how their life turned out. But unfortunately, there's not many elderly black women like that, unfortunately. And they're always the ones who are the loudest, ready to make the younger black woman look bad, or younger black women that are just doing better and wanting to make you look bad. So this was a really good example though of how the black community really sees themselves in terms of success. Ebony really hit it on the nail with that, about how the black community is really too comfortable with being mediocre. I mean, if you're a bus driver, you're a bus driver because you probably couldn't qualify for anything else. That's just number one. If nobody, if you go to a school with little kids and it's career day, and you ask those little kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? They're going to say things like a fireman, an astronaut, or a doctor. None of them are going to say bus driver. None of them are going to say pizza boy or cab driver. Those are jobs you end up doing due to, how certain events played out in your life. Or you end up doing them because, you just didn't have the drive to go for more. And that's no
Right.
one
If you're
else's
doing them
problem.
long term. Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I'll just conclude with, it was not a good look for the black community on like a global front. Like I know everyone else is looking at us like these people are really low level, unfortunately, because people are saying that it's okay to support a mediocre lifestyle. And I feel really bad for Ebony that she was put on the spot like this, that she's a multi-million dollar woman, uh, double educated, and people are expecting her to date a person who is satisfied with bottom of the barrel type of lifestyle. It's really embarrassing. It's so disrespectful. And I can only feel for her, but this is just a learning lesson to other black women, and more of a reason why we should open up our options to all aspects of life.
Well, I have to admit, I don't feel sorry for Ebony because this is the most publicity that Ebony and Iyanla have had in a while. They both were looking for publicity. They got it with this whole
Absolutely.
bus, like, they we didn't know the griot existed with this program. Now we know this exists, and Iyanla had a
Yeah.
2-hour live stream talking about whatever she was talking about. So thank you, Shar, for the Iyanla fix my bus tire. Yes. So I want to go back and have Ebony ask her question. I want us to answer the question about how do we fix our crowns based on what question Ebony actually asked, and then I'm actually going to have to go. So um, let us re listen to this and actually answer Ebony's question as we think it should happen.
Let me ask you this. Let's get to the logistics, though. Let's get to the logistics. We know that Black women are earning college degrees faster than anybody else. Many of us are doing like we're doing, Iyanla. We're getting those terminal degrees, those JDs, MD, PhDs. We also are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, along with Latina women in America. Pew Research said that women are now out earning men
Yes.
in 22
Yes.
of the largest cities in America, including where I live, New York, DC, LA, you name it. When we talk, and I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to, I don't know, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources. And some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Okay, so that was Ebony's real question. And what I think we need to do to fix our crowns and all of that is number one, live our lives. Number two, date out. And number three, be okay with whatever happens, whether you get married or you don't, whether you have children or you don't. Have a peace about yourself, knowing that if the right man comes along, he's going to see the goodness in you and you're going to be equally yoked socioeconomically. And if that doesn't happen, that you're going to be okay with that as well. I'll open it up to anybody else who actually wants to answer Ebony's real question.
Okay. I agree with what you said, and I was going to mention a few of those things. But to sum it up, if you're looking for someone, put yourself in the places where you can find what you're looking for.
I like that. Lake Life? Rose?
Practically almost everything you said. Date out. Hello, can you hear me?
Oh,
Yeah,
hi.
we can hear you. Go ahead, Rose.
Okay, almost everything that you said, really. I can't even add anything more to that, other than maybe traveling overseas. But it would just be putting it, choose yourself. Because she said something about femininity, holding you onto your crown, would be choosing yourself, um, dating out. Because I really don't, when they say put yourselves in these positions, I don't know if you can find what you're looking for here. So it may mean you having to travel out. And also too, thinking of a new narrative, because the whole thing about being married is also, it's a narrative. Do we really need to be married, or do you really want to be married, being happy with yourself? And some people are genuinely happy being single. Are you really marrying because you want to be married, or that is that the thing to do? And just working on yourself, or going overseas where the men do provide. That's what I have to say.
Okay, Lake Life?
To answer Ebony's question, really can be summed up in less than 5 words, which is purchase a home. That stability, that mental stability where you have a place secured to rest your head, and you have your mortgage and deed to prove that. It's either it's purchase a home or you're renting. Renting is not secure, especially for Black women. Once you have that zip code and really focus, purchase a home in that best zip code, it's a complete different world, a difference in kind. And the type of men who will come, because it speaks volumes of being a homeowner, those are the type on your level. Plus, in your home, you learn to properly vet. You learn your own boundaries and standards and expectations. We've heard this before, but we do need to learn how to vet. And you can best learn how to vet in your own property, in your own home, with your own things. And you can best
And don't let anybody move in with you. Do not let a man get mail at your house.
nothing.
And know the laws, because there are people who are starting to squat as well in these houses. So
Well, it's
yeah.
actually even the opposite, renting, because they do that there a lot, and it can kind of backfire on the woman, because they may not want to renew your lease. Just a lot of problems. But one thing, Cherie, the minute you have an issue with anybody, like you have to call an attorney or the police, the first question is, are you renting or own? Do you rent or own? The very first question. Everything changes when you own. Somebody starts to do anything on your property, even like you said, squat, immediately court order. You're harassing, and you're a single woman. And I'll go ahead and drop, but I do want to share something with you, Cherie. On my deed, you know what it says next to my name? That I am a single woman, never married. Like when you purchase a home, they're actually doing that now. They better protections for you, so that even if something were to occur or if you were to get married, this is something purchased. You as a single woman, it does not fall into that marriage. Your marriage is whatever you build with your husband. There are those items that belong to you, that property. And I just want to emphasize that, because we're so many Black women, we're now professionals. Really, that next step into financial and also physical security and mental stability is you having a safe place for you to brush your hair. Just brush your hair and go to bed safely. And I really emphasize that. So to answer Ebony's question, which is your question, Cherie, I would say look into home ownership in the best, safest zip code.
And practice your Second Amendment as well, ladies.
That's
So
the lead
thank you.
all day, every day. That's the
Fine womanhood. How would you answer Ebony's real question?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I had exited out a little bit. Um, I agree. Everyone made really good points, so I definitely agree with everything that they said. I would say to stay, depending on the industry you're in, your hobbies. First find that out. If you are not into anything, find out what you're into, get involved in that, and use that as your circle of influence, your network, your dating pool, if that's what you're looking for, all of that. Um, I was on I was in a Facebook group the other day, and a young lady, she made a post saying that she was, a little worried because she is a high earning woman herself and she does desire marriage. However, all the things that she sees on YouTube and in the manosphere gives her little hope that she'll find someone that's on her level. And she was also referring to the Ebony and Iyanla situation. And so all of the comments were telling her that she just needs to stay within her industry. And the narrative that, if regarding dating, the narrative that high earning men are marrying, girls who are 18 to 24 with no college degree, working as a cashier or something like that, all because they're pretty, is not true. Majority of people marry within their socioeconomic class. They they marry each other based off of how they met within their network. Someone who graduated from Harvard is probably going to be tied in with networks that have people graduating from Princeton and Yale, and that will probably be their dating pool, their their pool for finding work, and all types of stuff. So, stay and go in places where it's like-minded that you're used to, and really focus on that and be present, show up, because people love to get involved with other people who make themselves available for, you know, in terms of you wanting to be involved, you wanting to serve and help out in any way you could, because you never know who's watching and who's uh looking at you and thinking, she can be useful in this opportunity, and you can actually get blessed and and get, uh you just never know. I'll just leave it at that. But stay involved, put yourself out there. Don't close yourself off and seclude yourself, especially when you know you want more. So that's my advice, or that's my answer. was that
That's
the,
your answer,
was
yeah,
that the
to
right
the
answer?
real question. And
Was
I
that the
think
question?
I'm
Sorry.
sorry?
Did I answer the question correctly?
Yeah, well, I don't think yeah, there's a
Oh,
correct answer. Yes, and you did. I think you
okay.
added things onto it. I think all of us added things onto it that I didn't, start off with. But, the final thing I would say is to stop listening to all of these people on social media and this random man that I was speaking with on a professional level. I was, connected with him on LinkedIn, and I was talking to him about something professional, and he starts telling me about his love of Kevin Samuels. And I'm just like, okay,
Abort,
so it's
abort,
like
abort.
we're gonna have to navigate. We're gonna have to navigate a little bit better. Keep your eyes open, ladies. And as a woman in her mid 40s who was married, my husband died. We didn't have children. I don't have children today. I'm going to say that it's okay if you don't have kids, if you never get married. Um, you know, it's better for you to not get married than to get married and make a mistake. I have two friends that lost their homes. One friend not only lost her home in DC, she had to pay him alimony. So you think this is just a Mary J. Blige and Sherry Shepherd thing? No. These men are looking to you as upwardly mobile women for resources, especially with the economy going the way that it is. I know Lake Life is saying, and the data's coming out that the economy is not that bad, but guess what? There are a lot of Black men that are unemployed and underemployed, and you're the trick. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yes.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, Sharif, may I share something with you?
Yeah, if you could just make it super fast, because I like really got to go now. I'm
There's
sorry.
another, and I know there's another YouTube channel. I know you know who he is.
Uh-huh.
Not say his name, but he has a video where he's basically he's complaining about white supremacy and other stuff.
Mhm.
So they're a millennial couple. He mentioned the income. The wife, a millennial woman, 37 years old, she works as an IT specialist. She makes 95,000.
Mhm.
He makes 40. The YouTuber, he never, not once spoke about the disparity in their income. He complained about everybody else though, Black immigrants, white supremacy, and some other people,
Mhm.
but but it was never brought up, this income disparity. Another Black woman from Atlanta, she called in. She mentioned that she makes about 160 a year. All the men were trying to get at her. This is actually, I mean, this is uploaded here on YouTube. It's been there for several months, but
Mhm.
this is just how it is. Like this expectation that you're supposed to make a lot of money and it's okay for them to make 40,000, 40, 45,000. That's what you pay in taxes. Like you have Black women who are actually paying 40, 45,000 in taxes. They're not, so how can she marry somebody who's making that as an income? That's
And unfortunately, you have Black women paying child support for these men and taking care of other bills and responsibilities that they're supposed to have. So, the Dr. Ralph Richard Banks was right. It is best for you to start expanding your dating circle. It is best for you. I actually had three questions that you want to ask, and then I'm really going to go because I have to go. Number one is, based on how he's currently behaving today, will I still be happy with this decision to marry this man 10 years from now? That's number one. Number two is, with robotics and AI occurring right now, what are his long term financial prospects with his career? And then number three, can he help me raise a Nepo baby? And if you ask those three questions and there are any holes in it, I can tell you that um, you're probably going to look back 10 years from now and regret the decision of taking this man on. So, with that, ladies, I really, really got to go. I
Thanks.
want to thank everybody for being here today.
Thank you,
We're gonna
Sheree.
be back tomorrow as
Do not
well.
capitulate on these questions. Every question, it must be appropriately answered because
Yes.
yep, anything wrong, run. You're correct.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming up. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.